You're watching Next Pitch, the student athlete playbook for parents raising tomorrow's athletes.
Hi, Anthony Levrets here, host of the Next Pitch podcast. And today I am joined by my son, Kyler Levrets, and Jason Cardona, my Emmy Award-winning producer and partner, came up with this idea. And we're gonna talk to someone that we're actually trying to reach through our podcast and kind of get your story and also your thoughts about where you are right now in your journey. We've talked to NFL guys, we've talked to NHL guys, we've talked to Olympians, WNBA, high-level coaches, and we've talked about their experience when they were younger. And we felt like it would be really important to talk to somebody who is younger and in the middle of this grind of being a young student athlete. So thank you, Kyler, for agreeing to come on and join me.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. So let's first of all, how old are you?
Almost 15.
You're almost not 14, almost 15. Yeah.
Well, I'm closer to 15 than I am 14.
Yeah. So driving here pretty soon, for legally driving here pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So gonna be a freshman and obviously are deeply engaged in athletics now. But when do you remember like when you started liking sports, or what was the trigger point for you when you first started enjoying being in athletics?
I think the spring of 5th grade when you guys threw me into 7-on-7.
So after your first go around of playing tackle, which we'll get into, but when you first started playing 7-on-7 is when you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think I liked playing all the positions, but at that point I'd thrown a little bit, and that's when I enjoyed football.
That's when you first really started liking football.
Yeah.
Well, do you remember all the sports that you played growing up? Your mom and I threw you into, what did we play? Lacrosse,
soccer,
futsal, baseball, basketball,
football,
flag football,
tackle
football. Is that it? No. I can't remember anything else. And we did the track. That's right. So when we did those 6-week sports, you didn't really enjoy those, did you?
Well, I don't remember.
You don't remember playing them at all?
I mean, I was 3.
Yeah. So you'd kind of given us the stiff arm, right? I was a college basketball coach. Your mom played in the Pac-10, and you were not really wanting to be a basketball guy. You would kind of be like, yeah, I don't want to be basketball. What shifted for you that made you actually start to enjoy and want to go back?
I think just working at it, like playing football, like I sucked.
Yeah, you were not a good football player.
Yeah. And so I enjoyed the grind of getting better and seeing improvements, and kept me wanting to keep practicing and trying to beat someone out or just like improve.
Yeah. So your football journey began right after COVID, and your parents were frustrated with how much you were on your phone, and your mom had 3 major concussions in college and was really worried about your brain. And I'll never forget when she told me to get you into football. You're not going to hurt your brain any more than you were already hurting it staring at your phone.
Yeah.
And got you in. And do you remember what that first football season was like for you?
Terrible.
Yeah. What positions did you play?
Running back and linebacker, I think.
But you were a 10
tight end.
And tight end as well. But you were a 10-play kid.
Yeah.
And did you enjoy that process?
No. No. I was so bad. But no, I was more after, like when I started playing quarterback. Yeah,
and I'll never forget, we're driving around a couple weeks after that first football season, and you guys had literally, you were the worst player on the worst football team in the country, and I asked you what you wanted to do with football, and I was thinking you were going to say you never wanted to play again, and you told me you wanted to play quarterback, and I almost wrecked. And we began that process of reaching out to Alex Brink to get you involved. Do you remember kind of what that felt like, finally starting to get some structure and some training at a young age?
I think it was kind of like, oh, this is actually like fun and something to do, and it's not just losing all the time.
Yeah.
We went 0-7. Never scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
But then I got into quarterback, and then I was like, there's more to like football than just not scoring.
And then you currently play a multitude of sports, right? Last year as an 8th grader, you ran track, you played basketball, and obviously played football. What do you think the benefit for you, both as a football player and as a person, has been being involved in multiple sports and not just playing one?
Well, I feel like every sport unlocks a different part of your like athletic skills, like, or like your ability to do things. Like,
we talked about this off air. So explain that to me, like the different levels that you feel like each thing has helped you with.
Like basketball, it helped with my lateral quickness, and like jumping passing lanes and finding where to pass helped me with quarterback, because like full vision. And then track, it's like the mindset, like you can't blame anyone else but yourself, because no one else is on your team. It's just you. So if you lose, it's your own fault. And like that kind of helped with my mentality of like not being selfish and blaming everybody else.
Do you kind of talk about that difference for you of being in an individual sport versus a team sport? How do you enjoy the team sport one more than and I know football is your favorite sport, but just being as part of a team, or do you like that individual component as well?
I think they're equal. They both add certain things, like different things to the table, I guess.
Yeah. Elaborate on that. Give me the
football. It's like a family. Like my whole team's like brothers. And then track is like, you have to like, you only care about yourself, I guess. And it just, I don't really know. It's like, it helps with not being like selfish or like thinking you're higher than somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, obviously I wasn't the fastest guy ever. And especially when I started, and like losing helps you realize like, oh, you don't suck if you lose. Like you're just,
it's part of a process.
Yeah.
That's what I loved about track for you. And then the other part, like you went through this huge growth spurt. I think we just figured this out. You've grown 10 inches since the 6th grade, right? Yeah. From beginning of 6th grade year till now, it's about 10 inches. And you never really went through, you were awkward phase before you started growing, which is really strange. But do you think that being involved in all those sports helped you kind of navigate without going through that really crazy, uncoordinated period of time that a lot of people go through?
I think so. It was like, it helped with my running. And that's like most kids my age, when they go through that massive growth spurts, like they forget how to run, and like they look like gangly and like baby giraffes out there, which you still call me.
Yeah, but you don't look like a baby giraffe anymore. I just call you that because it's still something I call you. You look more like a grown giraffe now.
Oh, yeah, no. I think it all helps tie together with like not forgetting how my coordination and like moving around, because like a bunch of like people like can't jump the same once they grow. Like I know people that used to jump insanely high and they grew a couple inches and they lost a bunch of their vertical. And like Mark's, our high school workout thing, also helped me because it kept me like loose and like not tight and tense all the time. And it kept me like maintaining my speed even throughout that. Like my strides were getting longer, but then I was still working on getting faster as my strides were getting longer. So it all tied together.
I think it's really important, and that whole Mark's been on the show, and the change from just lifting weights to really working on functional movement and functional speed.
Yeah.
I got to watch that happen with you as an athlete. And part of it is that you're gifted physically and you have some natural athleticism, but there's certainly a point to be made for going through some functional movement training while you're in the middle of that growth spurt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So What's it like being a coach's kid? So your mom coached you when you were young. I know you don't even remember. She coached you in basketball, and then on top of that, your mom played professional football. We changed from being a basketball family to football family for a very short period of time until she got hurt, and then obviously I coached in the Pac-12. What is it like growing up in that environment? And did it initially keep you from wanting to play sports? Was that sort of why you kind of gave us the stiff arm, or what's that been like for you growing up as a coach's kid?
Not really. I don't think it affected, like, that's not why I stopped wanting to play sports. I think it was mainly just because I didn't enjoy them until I got older and like enjoyed grinding. But like when I was younger, we all sucked. And I was always competitive, and when we lose, I hated losing.
You still don't like losing.
I hated it. I like even losing to my sister in a 1v1. I would like, I'd come in crying and blaming her for something that wasn't true, and it just kept me away, I guess. And then you guys forced me to play sports, kind of, and it was probably the best thing that happened. But I mean, being a coach's kid didn't really affect me, I feel like, negatively. I think the more you think about it, the worse it'll affect you negatively. But if you don't think about it in a negative way, it'll become a positive. Like,
yeah,
I thought of it as a positive, like, yes, my dad's coaching me. And then all my friends love coming over now and love interacting with you. And I think that's why they still come over.
No, it's not.
But no, they see you as like almost an uncle or a father figure. And I think it's a big benefit to me is being a coach's kid. Right?
Yeah. And I know I didn't do it perfectly. That's for sure. And we talk about that. Like we talk about on the show a lot of making sure that you're always having a positive impact and a positive influence, and that parents have a responsibility to make sure that they are not creating a negative environment for their child. As you and I went through it, I never yelled at the other kids and was way harder on you. And then when I coached Caden, I was way harder on you. As for those dads out there listening, who they're about to go out and start football practice or volleyball practice or something that they're doing with their child right now and wanting to be engaged, what advice would you give them for dealing with their kids as their coach and trying to keep that a positive relationship between the two of them? And you can say what I did wrong. It's okay.
Well, I didn't really think you yelled at me. It was just partially that I thought I knew more.
Yeah, well, you probably did.
And we both just don't like ever being wrong. And so.
Are you saying that I'm stubborn?
We both are. And so then we'd get in these arguments. It's not really like we get into these quiet arguments where no one else would hear. And you'd always end up with like, you're right. But we'd end up with that. And I feel like if you can keep that to a minimum, it's always going to be a good thing. But like the other thing is, don't treat other kids better than your own. Like a lot of people think that people are going to think you're like you love your kid more than the rest of them.
You do love your kid more.
Yeah, I know. But like it shows, and some people don't want to seem like they're biased, but then by doing that, they end up making all the other kids like you're biased against your own kid. So I feel like
it's a really good point. I think for coaches out there, and I hadn't really thought about talking about this today, but I think it's an important part of our relationship that I learned from is people are always worried about daddy ball or mommy ball, right? And you're favoriting your child, but then you can go the other direction, which is what I know that I did. And hopefully I didn't destroy you too much. So we're still here today, but I do know it was wrong, and it can be worse for your relationship with your kid. It's not easy. So as parents out there coaching your kids, really trying to find that balance where everyone is treated the same way in a positive way, and your own kids don't get a crappy experience because dad's worried about looking bad by treating his son too well.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, it was like at the end you did a better job. Once my sister started talking to you about it, it seemed to get better. But like the end, we were all equal, I feel like. So you can obviously it's going to start out rough.
Yeah.
Then you can obviously always improve off of it.
Yeah. So we've established that you weren't very good when you first started, right? And you have big aspirations and big dreams. You're going to be a freshman football player this year, playing the freshman team at Lake Oswego High School. But you've gotten a lot better since you started. What do you do with your sport, your primary sport, while also doing all the other sports to make sure that you're getting time in every day to get better at football, especially during track season and basketball season? How do you manage that process of knowing I want to be a quarterback someday, the highest level? That's your goal. Whether you make it or not, we got a long way to go. But how do you manage that goal while also doing other sports?
I think it's just like you got to have your priorities straight. Like I write my goals down. I have them on my wallpaper on my phone. And like I see those every day and I'm like, okay, if I want to do this, I need to do this. And so I set ways up. Like if it's just going up and throwing 10 minutes a day with you at the high school or in our backyard or in our house even, which
your mom doesn't love.
There's just like spinning the ball.
Yeah.
Any chance I really get, that helps. But like mentally though, like you always have time to watch like a video on something, or like in math, if I finish my homework, I'll open my computer and watch like film breakdown or like quarterback 101, I guess. But like that's what I do. There's other ways. But
so football is your primary sport, right? Like that's the one you want to play.
Yeah.
Do you ever take really time off during the year? And you do take some breaks, but over the course of a full year, you're, even when basketball is going, even when track season's in full swing, you still find some time to work on your game.
Yeah. I think it helped with track season because everything was in the morning. So we had track practice in the morning and then I'd go throw in the afternoon. And so it kind of just like, I'm fortunate enough that my school just like makes sure that you have time for other things, and it all just was tied together. And I didn't really have a break for other things, but it's worth it, I feel like.
Yeah. So heading into high school, academics are going to become, not that they're not important when you are in middle school, elementary school, but in high school, they start counting for real towards those college transcripts. What is your plan for making sure, with everything you've got going on, and it is a busy life with just school, going to school and sports, but there's stuff outside of just being in school and being in sports that are required for academics. What are your plans to manage that so that your parents don't have to manage it for you?
Well, I feel like not having your parents manage it at all is like counterproductive. Like I feel like if I had you help me with something, I'd rather that. Like if I set rules, you keep me to those standards because I'd want you to, even if it seems dumb at the time. But like, I feel like I'm going to set a rule of like maybe not going on my phone until I do my homework after practice, or do my homework in study hall when we get a chance, or just anything I can really do to make it easier on myself.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's really important conversation for kids to hear is that sports is going to end someday. Whether you play in the pros, you're an Olympian, play at the highest level, it's going to end at some point in time. And starting to understand that your academics is what's going to, for almost every single person on the planet, is going to be how you make your money, is a really important thing to start learning. What this isn't on my list, but what have you learned about process, of going through a process and seeing how that impacts you? I personally believe that's one of the most important things that athletics can teach young people, is learning how to buy into a process, go through it, and see where you get to, and then complete that or continue to repeat that process. What have you learned about that for yourself?
I feel like the process is the most important part. Like most people, like what's the percentage of people make it pro like 0.1 or
it's point. I think it's for in the NFL, it's like 3% of high school kids play in Division I, and it's like 0.1% of that make it to the pros. But don't quote me, but it's low.
Yeah. So like most most people aren't going to make it. And so you really have to enjoy the process. Otherwise, there's no like real point. If you don't enjoy the process, why are you doing it? Like, I enjoy the process of getting better. And like, there's milestones that you start hitting where it's like, oh my gosh, the process is working.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you don't enjoy the process, you shouldn't be doing it, because you always need to like, you should be doing stuff you enjoy. Otherwise it's pointless.
So speaking of process and milestones, a big part of your growth and process have been, you've had some amazing people in your life. Two guys we'll talk about, Alex Brink and Jack Lane, and have been mentors to you. How important for a young person is it for you to have found mentors like that you look at, and they're obviously different stages in their lives of where they've gotten to. But how important has that been for you?
Well, I mean, Alex is like an uncle. Like he started out with just like kind of hard ass, but I was terrible. So it was like reasonable. But I feel like the more I've gotten to know him, the more like understandable he's gotten. And like, we've been able to have like these like deep conversations, I feel like. And then Jack, he's just like, he's going through the process right now. Like his goal is to be an NFL quarterback. And
for people who don't know Jack Lane, Jack's a former quarterback at Lake Oswego High School and now a junior at the University of New Mexico.
Yeah, he's in the middle of it, like the thick of it. Like if you don't get through that, obviously, whoop-de-doo, like you're not in the NFL. But he still enjoyed all of the process, and he didn't start quarterback until late. And so it just keeps me going, like knowing, oh, I want to be there one day, or wow, he's really good at throwing the ball, and like help, like just they prove that the process works. And like Alex, like obviously he runs like a high end 7-on-7 team, and like he's proof that like after football there's more that you can do that still involves football. And like if you choose that you still want to be involved in football, there's a bunch of options. So it shows like you don't have to be in the NFL to stick with football.
That's cool that you've noticed that, like that he obviously loves sport, was a multi-sport athlete, and has built a pretty cool company around providing opportunities for young people like yourself. I had not really thought that you would have picked up on that. That's pretty cool. Let's talk about social media. Every 14-year-old and parents' favorite conversation. Obviously, ton of different platforms out there and a ton of different ways for you to get your social media, tons of distractions. What do you think what do you think social media impact on you is? Have you thought about, because I know style and watching other people and what they do. I don't want to answer for you. Well, what do you think the impact of being on social media has been for you?
I feel like there's positives and negatives. Like without social media, obviously, like YouTube is a form of social media, and I use that all the time to like learn quarterback. And same with TikTok. Like you think TikTok's just like mind numbing, but some things on TikTok actually show improvement. Like the camp I went to, First Down Training, he's on TikTok, and you know that, you watched him. But like there's benefits to it than just like killing your brain. But then I also feel like if you're just watching it to watch it, there's no point in really having it. So like I feel like if you just have it to like be like everyone else and you're not using it for like a benefit, then you have it for the wrong reason.
So there's a ton of studies out there, right, that are, I actually just read, your mom shared an article with me this morning, that a 14-year-old brain right now looks like a 60-year-old man's brain based on, and they're calling it digital dementia. Those are scary things for parents, right? Yeah. And parents want what's best for their children, not just in the moment, but we want you to have better lives than what we had. What advice would you give parents because nobody wants an argument, nobody wants a fight, no one wants to fight about it. What advice, and you and I've talked about this, but what advice would you give parents on how to approach that subject with their kids?
First, I'd say show up with evidence. Like, you guys always claim you see these things, but then never really show me what they are. And so I don't feel like I should believe it unless I can see it with my own eyes. And then practice what you preach. Like, it's so hard for kids, like, seeing people on their phones, and then the people that are on their phones are telling you to get off of them. It's just like, to me, it feels hypocritical sometimes, but like, obviously you guys are older and like.
Be careful now. Older.
I didn't say old. I said older. No, you guys are older than we are, and
Yeah.
your brains are fully done growing, and like, obviously that's part of it. But I just feel like if you want your kid to keep their screen time low, you should keep your screen time low too.
I think it's a great point. I think the in all areas of practicing what you preach with your kids, while not an easy thing to do, is something that will shine a great light and help manage that relationship. What have you learned from Next Pitch Podcast? I know you've listened to some. I've made you listen to some of them. That Hannah Huseman from Mental Sweat, which I think has just been an amazing series. What have you learned as you've listened to that?
Like, all the like the skills that she kind of teaches with like focus and like recommendations she gives with your mental side of sports. And then I feel like Alex is always just like, his are always good because they hit so close to home, and like, I know him so well, and just I like enjoy listening to Alex talk because of I know he knows a lot about.
He's a pretty smart dude.
Yeah. So
when you listen to Hannah's episodes, are you surprised by when she's always talking about just the little things, right?
Yeah,
And I think that's the cool part about the brain, is that you don't have to do this. Everybody thinks you have to do this big giant thing to get somewhere in life.
Yeah.
Do you find that relevant to your thought process?
Yeah, because like, I mean, little steps build up to the big thing. Like, I have long-term goals on my phone, and then I have short-term goals in front of those to reach the long-term goal. So I feel like without short little baby steps, you're not going to get to the big goal.
Yeah, you and I know you've gotten a ton of good stuff from social media, and not back to that topic, but you recently started talking to me about meditation. Is that something that you are going to incorporate into what you do, or do you just find it interesting that people who, and meditation's concentration on something, right? It doesn't have to be the woo-woo part of meditation.
Yeah.
Do you find that interesting?
I mean, I don't think I'll do it, but I do find it interesting, and I like learning about it. And obviously I like people talking about the benefits of it, but it's just not like, I don't know. I couldn't see myself doing it just strictly because I don't just like sitting in one spot, unless we count like throwing the football as meditation. It's just focusing on one thing. But yeah, I like learning about it, but I don't think I'd do it.
You don't think you would?
No.
Do you think you wouldn't do it because it would be too hard to concentrate? Or
yeah,
do you,
probably.
which is why you should do it.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, I feel like when I'm just sitting there, my brain's like spitting so many things out that I couldn't do it for a long period of time.
And it's JJ McCarthy, right? And what is his, as you've listened to him talk about kind of training his own brain, what does he get from it?
I think just like another like focus, and I think it calms his nerves down before games. And I think it's just like a pregame ritual he does, but it like calms him down, and it's not like stressed out or anything.
What do you think the best thing that you've learned from sports are? What do you think so far, and you're going to learn so much more as you go here, but what to this point, what do you think that being involved in athletics has taught you that you're going to carry with you for the rest of your life?
Well, two things. Not everybody's perfect, and you can accept everyone. Like, on a football team, we have 50 guys on our team, and not everybody is the same. And if you don't accept everyone, it's going to be a downhill spiral. And then what was the other one I said? It was
not everybody's perfect.
Not everybody's perfect. Like,
and you need to accept everyone.
Yeah, if you go into like a job later in life, and you're a manager and someone messes up, and you just immediately think that, oh my gosh, they're terrible, like they don't know what they're doing. Like, you've seen them make a mistake once and you haven't seen them any other time. Like if it's their first day and they're just messed up the first time, like you can't take that for like them. I feel like you should wait a while. Like not everybody is going to be perfect all the time. Like not even professional athletes are perfect all the time. Like, I mean, people still throw interceptions and people get claimed that if you run more than most quarterbacks do, you should be a running back, or like not everybody's perfect, I guess. Like,
yeah, I think it's a great lesson. Leadership. So it's one of the areas that I know that you've really want to focus on and grow. What have you learned from and all sorts of different sources about how to deliver your message to people, right? When you and I have talked a lot about this over the course of being super competitive, wanting to win, expecting perfection from yourself and from everybody around you. How have you worked on delivering messages, leading your group, tell some of that growth, as obviously got a long way to go, right? There's work in progress, but has that something that's been important to you in your growth, and as you've made changes, two-part question, as you've made some changes, what have the results been?
Well, I started off with just being so intense and like angry, and that didn't really work out. And then I started like being calmer and like more soft-spoken about it. And then people like started accepting me as like a leader kind of. And now that they've accepted me as the leader, I kind of just like, I can be more intense and like enthusiastic about it, because they're like, oh, this guy's not like screaming at me like angry. He's screaming at me because he cares. And I just feel like there's more than just like the leadership in a big group. Like if you want to be a leader, you have to be a leader when you're one-on-one or talking to someone during the locker room, or not like practicing what you preach, like not doing something dumb and then going and tell somebody not to do it. Like you have to have the same rules for yourself if you want to be a leader and have the same rules for everybody else.
Yeah, you just did something recently that I thought was super cool. You took your whole offensive line, or as many of them as could go, out to breakfast. And those are the kinds of things that people don't see that are important to do. And you don't have to be a quarterback or the point guard or the pitcher to do that kind of stuff. You can be a leader from any position and take that. And I think it's really important. And just a kind of two ways. Like if I'm coaching you and you make a mistake and I start with, God damn it, Kyler, what's your and then try to teach you, what happens to you? You go into self-defense mode, right? Yeah. If I say, man, Kai, I love how hard you're going there, but you made a mistake on this. Let's look at this and see if we can correct that next time so you're successful. Both from a coaching standpoint and a leadership standpoint as a player, that message is going to be received so much better on the other side of that. And what you're trying to get is that person to receive the message, not make yourself feel better for exploding on somebody.
Yeah. I think the best piece of advice you've given me on my leadership is probably the fact that you should just start it off with a compliment. Like that immediately sets the mood that you're not mad and like you're not going to be upset with them that they messed up. And it's just like a pointer, I guess. Yeah. But then also, like you said, you don't have to be any certain, like you don't have to be the quarterback or the pitcher. You also don't even have to be like a vocal leader. You can be leaders in other ways. Like some quarterbacks obviously don't, like it's a big part is maybe being a vocal leader, but some quarterbacks aren't, like they just don't like talking loudly in front of a big group of people. And so they just like, they show like in a game, like I'm with you guys still, like they'll go put their shoulder down into someone or like prove that they're not like higher than everybody else. Like there's other ways to be a leader than being vocal. Lead by example, just like come down to like everybody else's level, things like that.
That's great. So a couple things here. What would you want people to know about me? So people out there listening to this podcast, they just hear me talking about, and it doesn't have to be good or bad. I like what's something that people wouldn't know about me that you think is important?
You have a dry sense of humor. I feel like you crack jokes that some people wouldn't think are funny because they don't know you. Like sometimes you just like talk trash, like not trash, but like it's funny, like funny trash talk. And like people would see that as like you're hating on me, but I know it's really just like you're joking. Like it's not to be taken seriously. Like I feel like we kind of have the same sense of humor, but that's one thing. And like a lot of people look at you because you're big and tall and just think, oh my God, he's terrifying. But
Intimidating. I'm
Yeah.
intimidating a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like the least intimidating
but you're
person on
not,
the planet.
You're not. You're like, you're not. You're a big teddy bear.
Well, thank you. So I do this with everybody on the show. And you're only 14, almost 15. We've established you're almost 15. You're not 14, you're almost 15. So, but we do this with everyone. There's some of that trash talking I was just doing with my dry sense of humor. So, if you could go back to your 5th grade self in that miserable football season that you played where you guys went 0-7, and I think you scored 2 touchdowns actually as a team for the whole year. What
like 0 is better than that.
What advice would you give yourself if with everything kind of you've been through 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, getting ready to go into high school now, and you could go tell your 5th grade self some advice from your almost 15-year-old self now, what advice would you give yourself?
Don't get down on yourself, or don't like talk bad about yourself. I feel like I was so bad that I would immediately start hating on everything that I did, and like I'd be in such a bad mood I couldn't talk to you guys after because I was so angry and upset with myself. And I think that was partially because I hated losing, but just don't diminish yourself over like some bad things. Like, dude, you're 10. Like just enjoy being there.
Yeah.
Like I was playing with my friends and it wasn't enjoyable for me because I just took everything so seriously. And then, I mean, the older I get, I just know that like, take it with a grain of salt, or like, obviously you can be upset at things, but there's always something good that's happened too during that. And so you got to find the good things.
I just learned something I didn't realize. So I want to talk about this a little bit more. So you felt like you had some negative self-talk going on inside your head?
I feel like everybody does when they're that bad.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and maybe not bad. So here's the thing about bad, and we joke and we probably shouldn't say this. You were just getting started, right? Like there's some people who've been playing since you're brand new. And so that negative self-talk that you have, it probably came from me. I didn't tell you were bad, but you probably knew that you thought that we thought you were bad or something. I don't know.
Well, I look at myself and I look at the best player on the team and I'm like,
I'm not close to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that negative self-talk is such a habitual thing.
Mm-hmm.
And have you figured out how to eliminate that from your brain? Like when you make a mistake, because you're going to make mistakes. Like, have you figured out how to eliminate that yet? Or is that something that you're working on to try to eliminate that from your thought process?
I mean, I'm still working on it. I mean, obviously last year I still got really angry, and
yeah,
I would get angry at you for no reason.
Yeah.
But I think the more you think about it, the worse it gets. So I just try to like either brush it off or immediately go talk about it. Like if I have a bad rep, I'm going to go talk about what I saw or what I need to improve on, so that it's not just sitting in my brain, just like constantly thinking about it. But I mean, yeah, there's that. And then finding something good about it. Like if there was a bad play, but like if I did something bad, but it still worked out, I try to find a good part of what happened badly, I feel like.
Yeah. So I really believe that that's what sports can teach you.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope you achieve all your goals on the field. But most important to me is that you learn process, how to dive into something, how to fail, get back up, practice, know you might fail again and do it again. And if you're constantly just being negative with yourself, you're never going to be able to go through that process, because that fear of failure is going to create that cycle again of that negative brain pattern of thinking, I suck, I'm no good, this isn't going to work. So hopefully That's something we can talk about on a more regular basis. Something we talk about a lot on here. I want to. We just dropped your sister off at college, and obviously, she was a big part of your life and is a big part of your life, and was a high school player and a grinder worker. What did you learn from her as a watching her go through her high school process?
I would just say like she also enjoyed the grind, and obviously she didn't achieve the goals that she wanted, but she still found joy in other things. And I feel like that's something I can learn is like there's joy outside of sports. And obviously I find a lot of joy in sports, but you need to find joy in other things. And she found joy in other things.
What kind of other things do you find joy in? I think this is really important for young athletes and families that are in the grind of the process and all worried about what's going on the game and in practice. What are you doing to give your brain a rest from sport when you need that break?
Well, I mean, I enjoy photography, and then I enjoy hanging out with like our family. So like now I can't really hang out with Kaden because
she's in Utah.
Yeah, she's gone. But that was the thing I enjoyed most, was probably hanging out with Kaden, and then just photography in general. Like I took photos for lacrosse state championship, and that was really fun. And I just started like learning how to edit the photos, and I find that really fun. So
do you just a completely different side of your brain that you you get to use?
Yeah.
So let's talk about our podcast. I know you're a big listener.
Yeah.
I've made you listen to a couple episodes. Have you? How do you like it when you listen to it? When you do listen to it, I know young people aren't necessarily big podcasts. You're more YouTubers, and we're trying to figure out how to get more people to YouTube. But when you listen, what have you learned?
Well, I mean, the mental sweat ones that you make me listen to, like I always can figure something. Like I always stick to something that I've learned. Like the mental, like the ones about my brain and like focus. Like I listened to the one about focus and like productivity, I think it was, and like the stuff that hit home, like setting stuff is like she talks about setting things for your focus and like productivity, and I feel like that's really helped me with my phone even and football. So I mean that's helpful. But the one I like listening to, I just listen to, is Alex's. Like that one just kind of hits closer to home, and like Alex, when he talks about football, it's like he knows what he's talking about. And when he talks about being a leader, he knows what he's talking about. So it's just kind of like closer to home, but like, I know that he knows what he's talking about. So.
Yeah. Who would you like us to have on as a guest? Josh Allen, I know, the number one. Yeah. Besides Josh Allen, who else would you think would be a great guest for us to have?
I don't really know. Cause like, I guess anyone in football, someone who can talk about like, maybe mental health, because I feel like that's a big part of sports and people need to have figure that out. So like anyone who talks about mental health, or like JJ McCarthy, maybe like he talks about, like I have the quarterback book, and he talks about you need to find something else other than football to like, otherwise your brain's just going to be shrouded with football and it's not going to be an enjoyable experience. Like you need to find a hobby outside of football. Like he meditates, that's his hobby. Like, and I just started doing that. Like I've got into photography, so obviously it's helped. So like JJ McCarthy talks more about the mental side and like how to improve your likings of sports and things like that.
This isn't one of the questions I had written down, but I think as you start exploring and you listen to, we shot an episode with Hannah earlier today that you listened to, as you start thinking about this from an understanding that high level professional athletes in most sports now, they have dedicated coaches just to training your brain.
Yeah.
And if you're at that level, someone's at that level, it's important to them. What does that kind of start to do for you of thinking about what maybe you don't do all of them now, but starting to think about how important that is for yourself?
I mean, it's just, I kind of started like thinking about it after I was just doing football, and like I was only caring about football, and it really brought me down into this like kind of downhill spiral of like worry and things like that. And then you see these pro athletes, like they're all happy, and then you wonder what they do. And then you find out that everyone pretty much has a mental coach or like someone to help them, or they found something else other to do other than football when they're free. And like, it kind of just like sets an image that you don't just have to do football. Like you can do other things. Like you need other things that you like more. So
I wasn't going to bring this up, and we can edit this out if you're uncomfortable with this. But since you brought up mental health, people from the outside looking in, if I'm just looking at you and you're 6'2", 165-pound kid, blonde hair, greenish blue eyes, you're built very well, right? Like good looking kid. Obviously, I'm biased. I'm your dad, but from the outside looking in, you look like you have everything going for you, right? Do you ever have times in your own brain where you have some demons that you're like, things aren't going well, you down on yourself, that you would feel like are negative impact on you in your life?
I mean, I definitely did when like last year and the year before, but that was also because I was struggling with friendships and like it was just a bunch of things clumped together. But now I've gotten closer with my friends and like closer with you guys, and like I feel like there's nothing really bad going on anymore. But there was a time where it was like, gosh, I'm by myself on this, like, so.
And that's a bad place to be.
Yeah, for sure. And like I really cared deeply about winning and losing, and in football we lost almost every game in 7th grade because we were split up, and that started the whole thing. And then all I worried about was I wasn't good enough, or like all this stuff, like not good enough, like, oh, my friends don't really like me, or stuff like that. And then 8th grade came, and like we all came super close together like throughout the year, and I was like, wow, this really changed so fast. And like I really enjoyed that, and like it gave me a good feeling. So now everything's kind of like back to what it was. But
your parents gave you an opportunity to go talk to somebody too, right? And I know that I hopefully this is not a taboo subject anymore in our country. It's important to go seek out help when you need those kinds of conversations. You didn't go a ton, but you really enjoyed that process, right? Of going through that and having an outside person to kind of unload all that stuff on. What was that like for you?
I mean, it was really helpful, honestly. Like people are worried that therapists are just going to like judge them or stuff like that. But like my therapist that I went to, that was provided by my doctor, technically, was like, he was super cool. Like he made me feel comfortable when I was talking, and like I didn't ever feel judged. I felt more like he really cared, and like it also probably helped that he knew how to talk about football, and like he talked about me with football and put things into like football scenarios. And so like I don't know, I think if you can find someone that like knows you and understands you and like can make things like easy to talk about, I feel like everyone should, like, even if you don't struggle with mental health, like everyone should go to something, because it just helps your brain and makes you a more happy person, I guess.
I'm glad that has worked out. All right. Well, we have come to the most important part of the show. You got to tell me a dad joke. So, are you prepared? Do you have one?
Yeah.
You got one? All right, here we go.
I only know 25 letters of the alphabet, but I don't know why.
That's amazing. Thank goodness for ChatGPT. Remember, if you ever get in trouble, I've got a full book of them over here that nice. You can pull from. So that you guys actually bought for me. So I appreciate it.
It's a good gift.
Well, Kyler, I really appreciate you coming on the show. Obviously, I can't wait to watch. You guys are started 2-a-days this morning, and getting closer and closer to your first game. Thank you for taking the time to do this. To this point, you are by far my favorite guest of any guest that I've had on so far.
Yeah,
I love you more than any guest I've ever had. So thanks for doing the show.
Thanks for letting me come on.
You betcha. And for you out there, if you enjoy what we're doing, please like us, give us some ratings, follow us. And the best way to share these shows is to recommend them to a friend. So if you think there's value in what we're doing, please share the show with your friends. Until next time, have a great day.